Good evening, live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Here we present to you tonight news bulletin. First, the headline. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos issues a royal decree. His Highness Said Haytham bin Tariq Al Saeed receives the delegation of the International Cricket Council. And the Sultanate's gross domestic product exceeds 7 billion Omani riyals during the first quarter of 2018. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos issued Royal Decree number 21/2018 ratifying the oil agreement between the Sultanate's government and petroleum company for the block number 57 signed on 10th of January 2018. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. His Highness Said Haytham bin Tariq Al Saeed, Minister of Heritage and Culture, received in his office today the delegation of the International Cricket Council. The World Cup cricket will be held in the British capital London in next June. During the meeting, the Sultanate's role in the cricket game and the national team's high-level performance in previous regional and international tournaments were reviewed. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Sheikh Saad bin Mohammed Al Mardouf Al Saadi, Minister of Sports Affairs and members of the Board of Directors of Oman Cricket Club. The iconic ICC Cricket World Cup trophy arrived in Muscat yesterday on a two-day tour to the Sultanate, the first and only country in the region to have hosted the trophy. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi has more details in this following report.
The Sultanate has been chosen the first and only country in the Middle East to host the glittering ICC Cricket World Cup trophy. After landing at Muscat International Airport, the trophy was taken to the Ministry of Sports Affairs.
This is really a crowning moment for Oman cricket. We've never been so proud or so happy. This is a true recognition of the hard work that the Oman team has done in positioning itself from being in the 30th rank and now moving up all the way to under 20 in its ranking. So we are privileged. Oman cricket is really privileged in hosting the World Cup trophy on its first leg of the tour of the world. And I'm also extremely honored that ICC has recognized Oman as one of the only countries in the region where the trophy will visit.
The trophy was taken around to some of the historic places in Muscat, including the National Museum, Al Alam Palace, Matrah Fort, and the Royal Opera House, Muscat. Later, it was taken to Oman Cricket Academy in Al Amirat for a grand reception in front of cricket fans and supporters.
We are very thankful for ICC. They are being the trophy in our Sultanate. It is very good for Oman cricket and the nation. And as a player and as a Omani, I was very thankful for Oman and ICC.
It's a very big thing for me. I really dreamed for it, to just see the World Cup. And I think it's a very big thing for all of us as an Omani.
It is worth mentioning that Oman is the first country to host this trophy before it embarks on its global tour ahead of the 2019 Cricket World Cup to be held in England and Wales.
This historic moment is an important milestone for the Sultanate and a recognition of its contribution in promoting cricket in the region. From Oman Cricket Academy in the Wilaya of Al Amirat, Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Muscat.
The Shura Council office in its 19th meeting of the year reviewed the Council of Ministers' speech on 2017 annual reports for a number of ministries. The reports including a briefing on what has been achieved last year and stages of implementing projects related to ministries, along with the main plans and strategies prepared by the ministries. The office also reviewed His Excellency the Minister of Manpower's response to queries with regards to employment exhibitions for job seekers. The response included a number of indices and results of employment exhibitions for job seekers which were held last year and the challenges it faced. The office as well reviewed His Excellency the Chairman of Public Authority for Electricity and Water's response with regard to supplying drinking water to areas located on the south of Muscat Sohar Road. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal al-Mauli, Chairman of the Shura Council. The Sultan's gross domestic product GDP witnessed an increase by 6.5% during the first quarter of this year. According to statistics issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information, the Sultan's GDP recorded more than 7 billion Omani Rials during the first quarter of this year, whilst during the same period of last year it recorded around 6 billion Omani Rials. The service activities came on the top of the non-oil activities, recording more than 3 billion Omani Rials with an increase by 1.5% during the first quarter of 2017. The subsectors of services activities recorded a rise in transport, storing and telecommunications by 6.9%. The oil activities witnessed a growth by 16.5% and recorded 2 billion Omani Rials, while natural gas activities recorded an increase by more than 6.1%. According to statistics issued by National Center for Statistics and Information, around 780,000 tourists visited Kharif Festival this year. Kharif Tourism Festival in Dhofar Governorate witnessed this year, organizing tons of activities in various fields which covered almost all wilayas in the Sultanate. Omanis represented the highest percentage of visitors to Dhofar this year, with around 560,000, followed by tourists from United Arab Emirates with around 73,000, and then the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with around 51,000, while tourists from both Qatar and Bahrain reached 8,000. Around 5,000 tourists from Kuwait visited the Dhofar Governorate this year. Around 81% of tourists who visited Kharif this year came by land, and 19% of them came by air. The land of the frankincense, with its green mountains and plains as well as waterfalls, is considered the main stunning touristic attractions in the Sultanate of Oman. The expenditure of Ministry of Health had decreased by 0.4% during 2017 compared to 2016, according to figures and statistics of the Annual Health Report for 2017. This was due to measures taken by various government bodies to deal with fluctuations in global oil prices and associated economic changes. Despite this decline in expenditure, the expansion of the umbrella of health services to citizens and residents in every part of the country had not been affected. At the end of the last year, the number of health centers reached 200, while the number of health complexes amounted to 23, supported by 49 hospitals that render its services with efficiency and high quality. The number of conducted surgical operations amounted to 100,000 operations during last year. There was also a similar development in the field of human resources in health sector, as the number of workers in the Ministry of Health exceeded 39,000 employees at the end of December last year, with the Omanization rate of 70%. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. The military band from the Sultanate staged a performance in Red Square in front of the Kremlin in the heart of the Russian capital. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Bilateral relations between the Sultanate and India and the means of developing them topped the meeting of His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al Ma'wali, chairman of the Shura Council, while receiving Indian military delegation chaired by General Satinder Singh. During the meeting, they reviewed Shura March in the Sultanate, its legislative and monitoring capacities, in addition to its specializations. Common concern between the Sultanate and India in various academic and training fields discussed by Major General Salim bin Musallim Qatan, commander of National Defence College, while receiving delegation from India National Defence College chaired by General Sherry Harkirat Singh. During the meeting, they exchanged cordial talks in addition to a brief about National Defence College, its academic and administrative facilities. The guest and his accompanying delegation also toured in various college departments. Oman oil price October 2018 delivery reached $75 and 20 cents per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price rose by 74%. The average price of Oman oil September 2018 delivery reached $73 and 17 cents per barrel, thus 44 cents lower than price of August 2018 delivery. Nama Group hosted the fourth meeting for Gulf Technical Committee for Renewable Energy Specification and its storage techniques in coordination with the Minister of Commerce and Industry. The committee aimed to specialize specific standards for determining renewable energy requirements, means of dealing with it according to joint specification between GCC countries. This meeting, usually held alternatively between GCC countries and divided in 2 days, where the first day included meeting for discussing suggested aspects and the second day included site visits for one of the energy project in the organized country. The revenues of 4- and 5-star hotels in the Sultanate decreased by 8.8% during the first half of this year compared to the same period last year. It recorded around 106 million Omani Riyals compared to 97 million Riyals. The monthly statistical bulletin issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that the number of guests of 4- and 5-star hotels amounted to 721,884 guests. Military bands from around the world, including the Sultanate, staged a colorful performance on Red Square in front of the Kremlin in the heart of the Russian capital. The festival, called Spasskaya Bashnya, or Kremlin's Survivors Tower, featured bands doing a wide range of music from classical pieces and military marches to popular modern tunes. This year, the colorful festival, which brought to Moscow over 1,000 performers from 15 countries. The music bands played a number of music pieces and performed some musical shows reflecting the traditions and culture of every country. The first festival was held in the year 2007. World Health Organization Ministerials meeting Road to Universal Health coverage in the Eastern Mediterranean region will be held from 3rd to 5th of September in Salalah, Governorate of Dhofar. The event will be hosted by the government of Oman, represented by the Minister of Health, and organized in collaborations with the WHO. More details in the following report. The Sultanate, represented by the Minister of Health, is preparing to host the ministerial meeting, the Road to the Universal Health Coverage in the Eastern Mediterranean region, EMR. The meeting, which is organized by the World Health Organization, WHO, in cooperation with the Minister of Health, will be held in Salalah, the Governorate of Dhofar, from 3rd to 5th of September. Around 22 East Mediterranean region countries, including ministers of health, a number of senior officials from the financial and parliament sectors, consultants, advisors and experts, representatives of the international bodies and associations, United Nations and non-governmental organizations related to the WHO, as well as the national health institutions will participate in the meeting. This meeting is one of the most important meetings at the international level, in which it represents the highest guiding authority in the global health system. Issues related to the universal health coverage will be discussed during the ministerial meeting. The Minister of Health has prepared early for this important event and provided the adequate support for the participants in collaborations with the concerned authorities, including the Office of WHO in the Sultanate. And of course, today we do have Dr. Akjumal Moktimova, WHO representative to the Sultanate, to share a few points on this coming event. Now, Dr. Akjumal, welcome to the Sultanate of Oman television. What can you highlight on this upcoming event that will be held in Salalah?
Upcoming event in Salalah is about universal health coverage. Universal health coverage and the right to health are two sides of the same coin. Universal health coverage means that every individual have access to health care without discrimination and without having to face the choice between financial ruin on one side and health on the other. So we are talking about health systems which can provide health services and to every citizen and provide it with financial protection. Sultanate of Oman is model of near UHC due to its primary health care. However, the reality in the world are different. And globally, over 100 million people actually fall into poverty. And in our region, and we are talking about over 620 million people in Southeast Asia region, in the Eastern Mediterranean region, falling about 7.5 million are falling into poverty annually because of out-of-pocket expenses. And more than 16 million of people are facing one or the other form of financial hardship.
But the situation, as you mentioned, in Oman is quite different, actually.
Oman is a model both in the region as well as globally because of its aspiration and health system, which is based on primary health care.
Now, if we look at what is the WHO's role in helping the countries to achieve universal health coverage then?
WHO is a multilateral organization with 194 member states, and we are in Eastern Mediterranean region. These are 22 countries, member states, and at its core, in its foundation, in 1948, the right to health is WHO core mandate. Currently, talking about universal health coverage, it is emerging as overarching strategy within Sustainable Development Goals 2030. And within the region, WHO, as well as globally, provides platforms, diplomacy platforms, as well as technical evidence, standards, guidelines, what works on what doesn't work, to work together with its member states towards fairer and healthier and safer world. I would like to note that in the Eastern Mediterranean region, universal health coverage is also overarching priority and strategy of in the roadmap of Dr. Ahmed Al-Mandari, who is our regional director, and he is from Oman.
Yes, indeed, and we really congratulate him to reach at this particular stage, and we do hope he will do a good job as usual now. What is expected now in this upcoming meeting? What will be achieved, you believe?
It is expected that this ministerial meeting, it is first of all gathering people from ministers of finance, ministers of health, parliamentarians, and it is expected that the meeting is going to achieve renewed commitment towards universal health coverage.
Okay. How Oman was selected as the venue for this important meeting then?
In fact, it is a combination of really positive choices, so positive factors. First of all, WHO recognition of Sultanate of Oman in its achievements towards health and development. And as I mentioned, Oman's healthcare system is model in the region as well as recognized globally. It also, I have to add, unbeatable hospitality of Omani people and beautiful destination Salalah with the world-class conference facilities, as well as neutrality of Oman and friendly relations with neighbors, which makes it an attractive place. And also, finally, it is symbolic to have this first ministerial gathering in the home country of our regional director.
Well, Dr. Ajmal, thank you very much. And we wish the East Mediterranean regional countries in particular and the whole world in general the very best in universal health coverage. That was Dr. Ajmal Makhmoova, WHO representative to the Sultanate.
Thank you.
And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of the Far and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Low clouds and fog later at night and early morning are expected over the coast of the Arabian Sea and Sea of Oman. Winds will be southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.45 meters. More details on your screen. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos issues a royal decree. His Highness Said Haytham bin Tariq Al Saeed receives the delegation of the International Cricket Council. And the Sultanate's gross domestic product exceeds 7 billion Omani Riyals during the first quarter of 2018. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team and myself, we do thank you, wishing you a pleasant evening and good night.